Hey, Michelle, can you hear me? Here comes Joe. Hey, guys. Did I let you guys know that I am recording this? Okay, recording this. I was going to let people know so that we can, let me see if I unmute you. Are you guys here now?
We're here. Can you hear us?
Awesome. Thank you, guys. This is so cool.
Of course.
This is like the, the silver lining of all of us being in our homes, staying quarantined, is that we couldn't have our event at the high school like we did last year. This is only our second year to do this. So this is our first time to do it virtually. So we're learning as we go as well. But this is the silver lining, that now we get to have you guys on here live with us. So, okay, I'm going to start letting some more participants in here. Here we go. Excellent. We'll give everybody a few minutes. Here come some people I know. Love this. Okay. All right. I just want to let everybody know that we are going to record this session so that we can put the Zoom link up available for people that aren't able to participate. This is, I know, Central Standard Time. This is the lunch hour. So thank you guys for joining us and being a part of this. Appreciate you joining. For those of you that are not as familiar with Zoom, you might want to adjust to speaker view, which is in the top right corner if you're on a computer, and I believe it's at the bottom if you're on an iPad. But that'll allow you to see Joe and Kristin up close when they are talking, if you'd like to do that, or you can keep it gallery view, whatever you prefer. But I just wanted to put that point out there. And then, of course, if you're not familiar, you can mute yourself in the bottom left corner. I am planning to have some time to have some questions and answers at the end of this, after I ask them some questions and let them talk for a while. And then, of course, you'll be able to, we've got resources on the page on the session grid where you can go and connect with them yourself and learn more, see the great videos they're putting out and the things they're doing. Wait, we've still got quite a few people joining us here. So I'm going to wait just a few minutes and let everybody join in. Thank you guys so much. Welcome, everybody. I was just sharing with Joe and Kristin how exciting this is. The silver lining of having this event virtually is that they are on the East Coast, and it's almost 1 p.m. for them, but they can now join us live in this session, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to wait just a few more minutes, let a few more people in here, and we'll get started here in just a few minutes. I do want to let those of you know that just joined us that we are going to record this session. This is recording so that we can share it later for people that aren't able to participate with us live. So just like to make everybody aware that that's happening. And then we're going to get started here in just a minute. There's a chat feature for those of you that are newer to Zoom. In the bottom of your computer, there's a chat feature, and you can go on there and type messages. If you have questions that you want to put on there, I can share those with Joe and Kristin as well. We can look at those and try to answer questions as we're going through the session live. So welcome, everybody. I'm glad you could be here. We'll get started here in just a couple minutes. How many of you have been enjoying the session so far? Give me a thumbs up. This is another thing you can do that's a great feature of Zoom is down here. There's a reaction button, and you can give a thumbs up when you like the idea or something, or give applause. So feel free to interact in that way so Joe and Kristin know that you're hearing them and you like the ideas that they're sharing. That's a great way to interact. And of course, the chat. And I think in just a minute here, we're about to get started. As the session goes on, I'll continue to have people join us, but I want to say welcome to everybody, and especially to Joe and Kristin. Thank you guys so much for doing this. I'll just give a quick little backstory. I met Joe when Ariel Jankert and I went to Flipgrid Live up in Minnesota, which was really cool. It was a free event at the time. And Joe was doing a session on app smashing that I loved. And so met Joe there and have been following he and Kristin ever since. And was really excited when their book came out, curating all the awesome ideas that they have been, doing throughout the years here of teaching, and just incredible ways that you can apply it, really practical ways in the classroom. So we got a few more participants. Oh, here's my student teacher. I love it. We have
that event was so much fun. That was at the University of Minnesota, right?
It was.
Yeah. It was, what a beautiful campus that was, and it was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, they were a great host for that event. It was a lot of fun. And you know what? They fed us really well too.
They did. Yeah, they did. Yeah. Because I think it was with Holly Clark and with Matt Miller. Yeah. Good time.
Yeah. You're right. Holly and Matt both. And I think there's a lot of sessions out there. Matt's doing a live session I saw. I think something's coming up today as well.
Is he?
He's involved in. Yeah. So, all right, welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to just take a minute to say thank you guys for being a part of this. And I know some of you are probably getting tired of sitting on your behind, so feel free if you want to stand up and stretch and give yourself a brain boost to do that. But I'm so glad that you are joining us with the Merrills. And so I'm going to go ahead and kick this off with our first question. So Joe and Kristin, tell us a little bit about you and what is motivating you right now as educators.
You want to go?
I can go first. Well, first off, my name is Joe. I'm a first grade teacher. We are from Naples, Florida, which is on the southwest side of the state, pretty much as far on the south side of that state as the state you can go. And I think for me, the thing that's really motivating me right now is my students. They need us, and I've been fortunate enough to host a few class meets through Microsoft Teams, and them being a part of just a conversation with their friends again, and just being there for them in that sense has been really, really important, I think, and really rewarding. And so it's made me really want to try to do more and even dive into more class meets and try to get them on board more often. But yeah, that's a big thing for me right now.
I'm Kristin, obviously. I teach 4th grade, and in addition to the students, I think my own children are motivating me a lot. We're working from home, both of us, and we have our 2 children that are home with us. And it's kind of a sad year not to be in school, because we actually have our children in our class with us. So our older son's in 4th grade, and he's in my room, and our younger son is in Joe's room. And so getting to see what it's been like for them at home, it's very eye-opening as to what it's maybe even like for some other kids, and even, I don't want to say worse, but even different. Parents are motivating me too right now. They're struggling. They're having a really hard time. And so being able to talk with them and try to kind of pass it, ferry our way through all of this together. They've been really encouraging for the most part. And that's been very motivating to kind of keep going. And then all the educators now that are thrown into this, whether you were using technology or not, now we are, and trying to do things, to help them.
Yeah, even the most well-versed, tech teachers out there are still struggling. So everyone's in the same boat, whether you're a parent at home, a student at home, or an educator at home. We're all in the same boat. So I think it's just
paddle together.
Yeah.
Just paddle, stay afloat together.
Yeah. So, and by the way, quick note: if you by any chance hear our children in the background,
we apologize. Because they're there somewhere.
I was about to say, all grace is given in this setting. We've had quite a few cameos of dogs and children and teenagers, so everybody can relate, all understanding and grace there. And I think a lot of us, that really resonates with a lot of us, what you're sharing, that we're in this boat together, but yeah, missing our students a lot, and looking for ways to connect with their parents and support parents. This is new ground for all of us. So thank you guys for sharing that. So now, can you tell us just a little bit of the story behind how you came to write this book and how that came to be?
Yeah, so it's actually really funny. So we never really thought about writing a book, and we were at a Flipgrid event.
It was that one.
No, it was a different one.
No, it was that one.
It was at a bar in Chicago.
Oh, that's right. It was. It was at ISTE.
Oh, stop! it was at ISTE in Chicago.
Yeah.
And we were at a Flipgrid event, and a fellow author came up to us, really nice, and was like, oh my gosh, you guys are going to write a book. And we were like, no, we're not. We teach in the classroom. Like, we're not writing a book. You're going to write a book? You guys are amazing. I followed you on social media. And lo and behold, she was friends with someone who worked at a publishing company. The next day, we were sitting in a coffee shop, and this message popped up like, hey, we'd like to talk to you. And we were like, oh, she was serious. Like, she seriously wants us to write a book. And from there, we became, just really good friends with the publishing company, Elevate Books, and Trevor McKenzie and Holly Clark, and kind of navigated our way of like, what on earth would people want to listen to us about? Like, we literally go to school every day. We're lesson planning and we're grading, and we're like, we didn't see where our little space was going to be to help people. And it just kind of slowly evolved into the interactive class, which now, we're really blessed that it's out now, and it is actually able to help people and, bring some, I don't know, there's a little bit of humor in there, I guess, but just something that we can say, here, we can help you. But yeah, it was never on our bucket list to write a book.
In full disclosure, it was not at a coffee shop. It was at a Godiva.
I was trying to be nice and say that you weren't at a chocolate
We were
store.
totally getting dessert.
I was drinking coffee, but I was trying to cover for you there.
Well, thank you guys. That is a lot of my motivation for wanting to do this live chat with you guys, is that I had purchased the book right before the governor shut down our schools in Kansas and told us we were going to be doing online learning. I was like, oh, where's that book? I've got to read that book. So it has really been an encouragement to me as we're all navigating this journey together. So in chapter 1, you guys talk a little bit about the importance of interactive learning. Can you share a little bit about why that's so vital, and timely now in the situation that we're in?
Well, like, the idea of interactive learning, lots of people say, oh, you mean like getting up and moving? And we're like, well, no, good learning does have kids getting up and moving, but the idea of being interactive is having a relationship with your students to where they feel a part of the classroom, not necessarily like giving it over to them where they're going to do get to rule the roost, but the idea that they feel like it's their space and that they're heard and that they're safe and that they're comfortable, and that's an interactive relationship, in the idea that I, as the teacher, am trying to implement things that you can relate to, that you can connect to, and within that there's going to be a reciprocal of trust and of hard work and of excitement, and it kind of like feeds each other. And so now it's kind of even more important not even more important, but just as important, because now they're not with us. So now we're not only are we trying to deliver education to these kids, but we're trying to connect with them and make them still feel safe and still feel like they're a part of that group that we had created.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. There's a lot of creation that goes behind that. And so, having the students be able to have that outlet is really important right now, because otherwise the kids are just sitting at home and, they're not having any outlet for that. And so by having a little bit more of an interaction and interactivity within the activities, they're able to really show themselves in a really dire time. And it's really important for them to be able to do that, I think.
Yeah, and through that too, like through that interaction, there's so many other things that kids learn when you kind of implement those kinds of ideas. And whether it's public speaking or whether it's empathy, or regardless, there's
speaking to each other.
There's just so many little things that you learn in that kind of interactive relationship, but you're showing them that they matter and that you care about them, and that all the decisions in your classroom are coming out of that place.
I love that. I see a lot of heads nodding out there. And so with that in mind, what are some of your favorite tech tools to use with kids to engage them and get them connected, build a relationship in that way?
Do we have to even?
Well, yeah, I think
we're going to say the same one.
If you look through the book, then there's a lot of examples about Flipgrid in there. And I think the reason why is because we love Flipgrid, we love Seesaw, there's Bunsy, all those apps are phenomenal. But the thing that really resonates with Flipgrid is that, it's a one-stop shop. And, if you aren't familiar with any of those apps, it's a great place to start, because it has everything that you would possibly need and more to get started. Now, if you're an educator and if you're not familiar with Flipgrid, you have up to 10 minutes to record. You can record a whole lesson. Now there's screen recording in Flipgrid. You can basically do your entire lesson in Flipgrid. It's crazy.
Yeah, I just talked to the girl, one of my most closest friends yesterday, and she was getting frustrated about developing lessons online. I said, have you just looked at Flipgrid? Like, can I just show you? And I walked her through 10 minutes, and she messaged me this morning. She was like, big, all caps, like, thank you. Like, this has just saved my morning. You know, I can now use a sticker and post up like you're thinking of like littles, like your little anchor chart, and I can talk, or I can, whiteboard and do my math. And what's nice about Flipgrid is that you can use it depending on if you want kids to be discussing, and then they can film and they can record, but you can also attach stuff to it, and they can like link off of it and read, or they can link off of it and do. And so it's just a great platform. They've released the Activity Center, which is full of like learn to share activities for both educators and parents. They've got, they're pushing out like tutorials and live PD, like the staff that they have running too. It's a great place if you need help to know that someone's going to get back to you. So that would have to be right now my favorite app. I mean, I'm only using 2-3 apps right now with my kids personally. We have to use Canvas because that's our LMS. And I use Teams, and I'm using Flipgrid. And that's it right now, because I'm trying to keep it simple. I'm trying to keep it routine for them. And I can do pretty much everything I need within those 3 platforms.
Yeah, and I think that the other thing too to know with Flipgrid is that, we did mention that, it's a one-stop shop, but they've from the very beginning, they've made it so easy for other apps to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's very admirable, because, when you go to do things like, leveling up here, like app smashing, for example, where you create something in one app and then you want to export it and upload it to another app, they make that seamless. It's so easy to do. And, it's never been about a competition with them. It's about what can we do for students, and the focus has always been on the students. And I think that's kind of why.
And the teachers.
Yeah. They listen.
Like the Nearpod integration that they just came up with. If you're a teacher that uses a lot of PowerPoints or slides, or that's the way you present to your kids, well, then just throw it right into a Nearpod. And now you can even add Flipgrid into the Nearpod. So you can do a Bunty, you could add it to a team. So they're trying to make it to wherever you're comfortable, wherever your home base is, they'll meet you there,
right.
Which I really like.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I see a lot of people on here that have already recorded their own Flipgrid hello in our Edcamp JOCO Flipgrid. So thank you guys. Give a thumbs up if you are liking, either a virtual or regular thumbs up if you are liking Flipgrid and interacting with everybody on Flipgrid in our Edcamp JOCO side. I think that's been a great way for us to have a slow chat too. So I think teachers that weren't familiar with Flipgrid are kind of getting trial by fire a little bit as we're throwing them in and interacting. But the cool thing about it is seeing everybody's face. So I totally agree, seeing faces. So in chapter 6, you talk a little bit about parents and including parents in what you do. So can you share a little bit about some of the ways that you have interacted with parents and included them in what you're doing, and how that's impacted your classrooms?
Can I take this one?
Go.
Okay. So I'm actually so thankful for this, because we had a really great mentor, and he kind of introduced us to social media, explained why it was so important that we were sharing on social media, and how it was crucial to open the windows, to take down those walls, turn them into windows in the classroom, so that your parents and families at home had the view to what was going on, because the support system is crucial for an educator, for a student's success in education. And so from the very beginning, he told us, okay, start on Twitter, anytime you do a lesson, put pictures, put up a video, let your parents stay connected. And then that jumped over to Facebook. And then now that's jumped over to Instagram. And we're basically just trying to get the parents where they're at.
That's what I was going at. What we started realizing after doing this for a while is that as the generations keep coming through our classroom, the platform of social media that you're going to reach the parents at changes.
Yeah.
So for a while, Twitter was the best place to go. And we debate about this, but right now I can hit almost every parent on Instagram like
that.
No,
I agree. So
and so like, we just throw it everywhere or try to prioritize, but kind of thinking about where are your parents at? And it seems weird. Like, I'm going to post this on Instagram, but that's where I have some parents I can't get a hold of any other way. But if I message them on Instagram, they'll talk to me.
Yeah, a funny story. So I had, back when school was still in session, I had a kid that had completed this project, and he was so proud of it. And he was like, oh, are you going to put that on Facebook? And I was like, sure, we can put that on Facebook. And he goes, great, my grandma's going to see it. And I was like, oh, okay, we need to make sure we're going over to Instagram too, so your mom can see it. And he goes, yeah, let's do that too. And so that's kind of like where we are, especially like with us, in primary. And we keep telling all of our middle school and high school friends, like, listen, it's coming, like they're coming to you, and they're expecting these things. And so it's great to be able to be on those social media platforms and have your parents and families invited to those, and just communicate through them out that way. And keep a constant communication. And I think the reason why I've been a little less stressed, and I'm not saying I'm not stressed, but a little less stressed.
Don't even let him fool you there.
A little less stressed about all the remote learning stuff is because I've already had those platforms created, and so those outlets have already been there. And so even when we first found out that school was being shut down, the first thing I did is I went over to Instagram, went on and created a video, shared it to both Instagram and Facebook, and just said, hey, listen, here's what we're going to do next. And I could have typed that in an email, whatever, but just having me on there and hearing it from me, I think really helped to like alleviate stress on their end, so that they knew exactly that, okay, we've got this. Everything's under control. We're good to go.
I think also it's just important to say too that we have like separate social media pages. So like we have class pages that are designated only for school. So we don't post family things. We don't post it's like, this, and it's the same handle. So Friends and Fourth is my Twitter. It's also one of my Instagram. And so whenever anything goes out on that, it is solely school. So we do that to keep them separate and to keep them professional. But yeah, there's a personal touch to that. But now what I'm finding is those platforms that we had in place to reach parents to show them about their kids' work, now it's reciprocating, and now they're reaching out to us about how do I do this or how do I do that. So it's like the lanes of communication are now going both ways, where sometimes it felt like we were just sending it out. Now that it's established, they're coming back towards us too.
Yeah, and I will just say one real quick thing. Apps like Class Dojo and Seesaw are great because they do all those things with communication. The only thing is that it's one more step for parents, and right now they don't need another step. So I'm not saying don't use either one of those, because they're great. And Seesaw, I use Seesaw, and Kristin uses Seesaw, but it shouldn't just be your main use of communication right now, because your parents are not going to go from here to there to there. Like, get them where they're at.
Yeah.
Love that. That's really good. And I love what you were saying about the two-way street, where now they're interacting back with you. That is really cool. I'm going to pause for a quick second just to say we've had some new people join us. And so I just want to make sure everybody is aware that we are recording this session so that it can be watched by people that weren't able to join us. And then if you have any questions for Joe and Kristin, feel free to pop those up in the chat feature down here, and we'll make sure at the end that we have some time to answer questions with Joe and Kristin. So continuing on, thinking about teachers that are feeling a little overwhelmed with this shift and this big change, and now we're in online learning, and feeling the stress, Joe, that you guys were kind of alluding to there. What advice or wisdom can you offer teachers on the best place to start with tech if they're feeling really overwhelmed?
That's a good question. I will say start simple. Start slow. I came into this first week of e-learning like guns blazing, like, here I am, I'm going to provide all of this great instruction for my kids because this is what they need, and I'm going to be, and I was like, whoa, like it was like wall. Like I didn't realize I should have, because I'm dealing with it in my own home, but just all I needed to do, granted I did have actual standards I had to teach, but just one thing, one, how are you, one, check in with my kids, maybe add some math or just something to like slowly kind of ease in. And like I said, we are in our district, we have to use Canvas. Like that is our district platform that they're trying to throw out to all the parents. But if your district has a one thing, like just do it. Like just stay to the one thing and try. Like as educators, all we want to do is do what's best for our kids and like make it engaging and make it fun and make them feel like they're at school and make them, not bored and make them, they're going to just feel that just by seeing you or meeting up with you. But you don't want, there's just so many other moving parts. Like it took me all week just to get in contact with some of my kids, not even like about getting online and doing the work, just like, hey, are you there? Like, are you okay? Like, and so not feeling guilty about that as a teacher, and not feeling like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to. Just there's no rules. There's no rules. Like, and just slow and simple and be there. Like, find whatever your platform is, find a place where your kids can contact you, get in touch with you. Mine is Teams. They can go on all day and they can ask us questions and they can send us pictures and they can chat and it's been really nice to do that with them.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback off that. I think that you hit the nail on the head, is just keep it very simple. You know, a lot of ed tech companies out there are offering new and free things for the rest of the school closures, which is awesome. And it's great to see everybody stepping up. But there's a lot of educators out there that are new to some of those platforms, and trying some of those out for the first time while your kids are not in front of you, it may not be the best decision. It may be awful challenging for them to figure out, and it's challenging for you to try to explain it to them. So like Kristin mentioned, I think just starting simple, you know, and if you were to pick one app, you know, and probably just go with that one app, that's probably the best strategy.
Yeah, which is why we had mentioned Flipgrid. We use Seesaw. Like, that is my primary for my parents. Like, that's how I've always contacted them throughout the year. So I didn't have to set it up new. But if you're going to go with one app only, my only thing about Seesaw is that the kids can't see each other.
Right.
And I'm not saying anything, you know, bad, but to me it is so important for kids to be able to see each other and talk to each other and learn with each other, which is why Flipgrid is so great, because they have that face-to-face, and there is something so important to that. But yeah, whatever it is that you choose, you know, keep it simple. We've done a lot to try to get out ahead of our parents. And so, like, preparing little guides on like how to use this. Here's the steps to set up this, you know, so we almost like prepare that ahead of time, so that then when we launch it, we can say, oh, and here's like a document that we set up for you and like how to do it, rather than like backpedaling and then them getting frustrated and having to like answer it all, like trying to send it all up ahead. And that's been helpful.
Yeah, just, you know, you save it in some place, whether it's a video or maybe if you create some images or something, save it somewhere where that way, you know, if that question does come up again, you can just fire that right back out and say, oh, here you go, you know, and send it out to begin with. They're not going to read it at first, you know, they're all going to skim over it, but that way you have it, and that way if the question does come up, then you can bounce that back out and put it back onto them, because there's just a lot going on right now.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, that's just helpful for everybody. So
yeah, and there was a question about whether we're using Zoom as our meeting platform. We're actually not. Our district is not allowing us to use Zoom. We have options. We have a Canvas conversation, there's something else called WebEx that we're using, and we can use the Meets and Teams and Microsoft Teams. So we have been told to stay away from that, just because our district does have other things available.
Yeah.
But we know some people who are.
That's really good. I think you guys have given some great advice there about keeping it simple. It reminds me of some other advice I've gotten you, that you start small to grow tall. So just keep it simple, start small. There's a couple more questions on here I'm going to stop for a minute and have you address. When you were talking about your social media, somebody specifically asked, thinking about your Twitter, Instagram, I know you guys are on Facebook too. Do you end up posting the same thing on both your platforms, or are you differentiating some of what you're sharing? Could you talk about that?
That's a great question. And I think it depends on your situation. Like right now, where everybody is kind of scattered and we're not really in the same environment, it may be powerful if you're using it as a classroom setting. It may be powerful to post the same thing in both places, and you may disagree. But the only reason why I say that, is because she says she doesn't agree. The only reason why I say that is because you don't want different messages going to different outlets. You know, like if you're saying, hey, this is what our update's going to be for next week, this is what you can expect, you want that going to everybody. And you don't want a parent to come and say, oh, did you see what Mr. Merrill said on Instagram? No, I didn't see that. I only saw what he said on Facebook. You don't want that. So what's your argument?
My argument is I wouldn't even give them all the platforms. I would just give them one platform and say, this is where I'm at, go. What we did start sharing things originally a long time ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, on multiple platforms. But what we've learned is that if you are not an educator on Twitter, then you need to stop the Zoom call right now and go join Twitter. Because what we're finding is that Twitter is our place where we get our ideas, where we get our encouragement, where we have been going like remote learning, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And we've been going to Twitter and scouring through hashtags. Parents aren't going to be there. So parents are more likely in like a Facebook or an Instagram kind of setting. So what I do is that when I post on Instagram, I love things. No, we're not in the class, so it doesn't really work right now. But like, I loved Instagram stories because I could like take quick 15-second videos as my kids were working around the day and post them on my Instagram so the kids could go home and their parents could be like, hey, you're doing something with like green shapes on the table. Like, what were you doing? They could instantly like reach those kids. And it wasn't the conversation of what'd you do today? It was, how'd you do that with those shapes today? And it instantly changed their conversations. Whereas Twitter, we tend to post more ideas like, hey, are you a 4th grade reading teacher? Look what I did today. Like more of like a sharing to teachers. Whereas on Instagram and Facebook, it's more like, look what your kids did. Look what they created. Look what they were learning. And so it was a little bit different.
Love that. Hey, and if you guys aren't taking a peek at the chat, there's some great feedback and things that people are offering in the chat as well. So take a peek at that if you haven't had a minute. I've got another question. I believe this is Ryan was asking, what are some of your, like asking about your guidelines for students? Like our students, a couple of people asked, are your students following your social media accounts? And like, what are some of the guidelines in your district? What does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, so that one, our district every year sends out a waiver to all the students that waives the rights to be on any type of social media, news, yearbook. It's all one big lump waiver. So at the very beginning of the year, we know if we have any kids that are not allowed to be on. And to be quite honest, we have awesome admin. And if they have a child that they know has one of those, they just don't put them in our class because they know that we love to be on social media. But we have those waivers and they're through the district. So once they fill them out for the beginning of the year, unless a parent, comes back and says no, we can then share anything. We don't share names, so we can share faces and things like that, but we don't even share first names. Like we try really hard not to put any names. We don't share our school location in any of our profiles or anything like that. And we do not follow kids on social media. So they're allowed to follow our accounts, but we do not follow back. And I try even hard not to follow kids even after they're out of my room, even a year or two. Like I try to keep that distance. But those are kind of the basic parameters. Did I forget anything?
I don't think so.
I mean, I think that's about it. And so once the parents have filled those out, and it's funny, every once in a while we will get a kid that has one of those filled out in our classrooms. And by December, the parents have filled them out and said that they're okay. Because they then go to, well, why isn't my kid on there? Why can't I see my kid? Where's their work? Well, because you signed the paper. Like you told me I couldn't. Oh, like, it's amazing when parents realize that what you're sharing is positive and it's uplifting, and what it does for a kid to come home and be like, did you see my thing on Instagram? I'm going to go right now. They change that. There's a fear. A fear is a lot of what causes parents not to want to do it. And it's the same thing with teachers. Fear of things cause us to not try, when in reality, something could go wrong, but if you don't try, you'll never know how it goes.
Yeah, it's almost used like a classroom management tool though too, because you can say to your students like, hey, I'm going to put this on Instagram, and if you're in the back of the video or you're in the back of the photo off task,
your mom's going to see it.
Not going to be happy about that. And so, there's that side of it as well. And so you can use it as a classroom management tool.
He teaches 6-year-olds, so I mean, come on.
I don't know if you've ever heard the book Officer Gloria and Buckle, but the dog Buckle. It was
I don't teach
Buckle.
littles.
Whatever the dog's name, I can't even remember. That's terrible. Whatever the dog's name is, it's Gloria. That's what it is, Gloria. Yeah, we say don't be a Gloria. So.
That's awesome. I see some teachers out there, 1st, 2nd grade teachers nodding their head that know that book. That's a great one to use in the classroom. We're kind of winding down to the end here of the time I wanted to spend on the interview, and I'm going to do a few more questions, but I want to take a second and talk about my favorite part of the book, which is part 2. I don't know if you guys can see that. Part 2 in the book is this big section where you share the practical tips and advice, engaging lessons, apps, and things that you can use in the classroom. And some features of this section that I really love is that you talk about the grade level that it's best for, but one of my favorite things is you kind of talk about the comfort level too, whether you're a beginner, medium, or advanced user of technology. So I think it helps people to find ideas that they feel fit the level where they are. But then you've got a lot of quick tips on here too. So I'm going to stop talking and let you guys take a minute to maybe share a little bit more tips and ideas, or this is, I think, a really practical part of your book.
Thanks. It's our favorite part, and we have to admit it's the part we had to fight our publisher for the most. We got so much cut out of it still, but the idea of putting all of those ready to go lessons with the tips and the tutorials at the beginning of just what the app is, like the overview, is really important, because not everything works for everybody, and that's fine. There's things that he uses that I don't like to use. They don't work for my grade or my learning type or my teaching type. And so we love that idea. We love the idea of the QR codes. So you can scan and, oh, I want to do the Weather Me and green screen. Boom, there's the pictures I can use for it. You know, that idea of, we've learned trying to use new tech. Yep, trying to use new technology. Sometimes the hardest part is just like gathering the stuff to do it and like learning the platform. And so if there was any way that we could go through it and say, hey, you want to try this? Here, let's give you what we use. We tried to do that.
Yeah, and I think we tried to stick with platforms that we knew would be compatible anywhere. For the most part, I mean, there's a few like that are just for iOS, for iPad and iPhone and things like that. But for the most part, the majority of the apps that are on there can be done on any device. And they're also tested and approved, you know, like
that was a big one.
They're lessons that we literally have actually done in our own classrooms, you know, so no one can say like, well, I can't do that because my kids are too young. Well, they're 6 years old.
Or how often do you go and listen to someone speak and you think, oh, that idea sounds great, but you've never been in the classroom. That's not going to work. Yeah. It happens, right? People have these great ideas, but until you actually do them with their kids. And so all of these lessons were lessons that we have done. Lots of them were lessons that we shared on social media where people were like, oh my gosh, how did you do this? And then some of them were just other ones that we created, but that's important. It's authentic. We wanted it to be a very authentic book that hopefully when you read it, you can relate to it and it feels real.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Is there anything else that you want to share that you think that I haven't touched on that might be helpful, or tips, top tips, anything like that you want to put out there?
Top tips.
I don't know. We recently just started doing video tutorials for people because that was something that we wanted to share. We're calling it Technically Speaking. That one we did yesterday was all about how to just convert like your paper, like worksheets and materials for kids into digital content that they can mark and use using Google Slides or PowerPoint. But we're trying right now just to curate ideas from people. So, I mean, we have some of those on our YouTube channel going up. Our blog, we've been trying to like keep up with like just how-tos and things that people might find useful. It's really challenging because every district, every school, every state is so different, and it's hard to know what teachers have available to them. So, you know, if anyone here has any questions on anything, you're always more than welcome to reach out, and if we can help in any way.
Yeah, and we've got a few other things under the table right now that are coming out soon.
Yeah, we're working with Flipgrid to try to get some things coming out, some more tutorials, more video-based, because lots of people do, like, we had this argument the other day. He was like, I don't watch videos on how to do things. And I said, normally I don't either, but if I'm using tech, I like to have my one screen on one side and the video telling me what to do, and I can literally click and learn. And so that's been helpful. I mean, if you go to Twitter and you search like remote learning or distance learning, there's so much that comes up. It could be overwhelming, but that in terms of just help and programs, and people are doing things like you said, Matt Miller today, just kind of finding whatever it is that you're going to work on or do and trying to stay within that crowd. Flipgrid's going to have a chat coming up soon. That's going to be
Tuesday.
It's going to be massive, which, I mean, they're onboarding like 20,000 new teachers a day. So it's going to be a really basic kind of chat that might be fun if you're new to using Flipgrid. I don't know.
Yeah.
So much.
I would just say, you know, if you're sitting there thinking like, okay, trying to absorb this all in, you know, and then you get a question later, just holler at us on social media.
Yeah, and we also on our website, we have like a remote learning guide. So we created, it's like a PDF, and it goes through a lot of these apps that are offering free services, like free this or free that, and we kind of broke it down like, well, here's what it is, here's kind of the platform, and here's some ideas you could use it in remote learning if you're interested. And we QR coded all of that, so that might be helpful if you're kind of like, what is Nearpod? What is Searsaw? What is whatever? You know, you could kind of just read through that. I think Joe's going to try to drop it into the chat.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's the right link. So,
you know, but like we do have that, and we do have we have like a couple YouTube tutorials that we got some of our friends, because we're leaning on our PLN too right now, like Minecraft EDU and Edpuzzle and just other apps. We have some quick less than 5-minute tutorial kind of like rundowns. If you just want to like look and see basic of like, what is Flipgrid or how do I use this? You could go there as well.
Yeah, I just put up that ebook, so feel free to download that. It's got some good ideas and different ways to use all those apps.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, Joe, thank you for doing that. And I just also put on there to make sure everybody knew your handle for all social media for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And then I didn't realize it, but I bought the book and I had never joined the Interactive Class Facebook community until yesterday. When I was trying to watch your live video, the Technically Yours. That was so good. And I went to join it and I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to join this community. And luckily you were really monitoring that and invited me in. So I was able to watch that live. So that was a really great feature that you're offering with those little tech tips live. And it was a really great short little bit I could watch. The other thing I was thinking, you guys also have a blog, right?
We do at themerrillsedu.com. You can just go, there's like a little tab that says blog. We just put out a new one today. It's actually it's a little bit more SEL oriented. It's about a Tiny Bop app that focuses on just mental health and children being able to express their feelings. It's a journaling app. We've had our son working on it. It's really cool. It's very kid like modernized, but it just, how are you feeling, and answering random questions, and they can draw and they can sticker and they can take pictures. And so that's what's on the blog right now.
Yeah, I think it's really important to really take a step back, because we're really monitoring our physical health, especially with the kids right now, but we're not really paying a whole lot of attention to their mental health. And so they need to have those outlets to be able to talk about some of the questions that they have, because they're not asking the questions. And so an app like this is awesome for that, because it gives them that outlet to kind of express their thinking and their thoughts. And it's all private and secure, so the parents have control and stuff. So check it out.
Yeah, it's more like a parent post. Like, it's fun because sometimes we see things from that lens as a parent, sometimes we see things as an educator, and so we try to kind of cover all those grounds. But that one was something that our son did this week. We're like, we should share this. This is cool. This is something that maybe will help, someone you can share with your own parents in your own class.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that too. I think the social emotional learning, that mental health piece, is huge for all of us right now, adults and kids. So
going on day 23 in our house, I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know that people are going to find that a valuable resource. Before I let you guys go, thank you so much for your time. But does anybody else want to unmute themselves, have any questions you want to ask Joe and Kristin before we end this call?
I saw Eric on there. What's going on, Eric?
That is nice to see familiar faces and shout outs. This is a great connection. Well, I want to thank all you guys for joining us, and especially thank you, Joe and Kristin. Again, the silver lining of this being a virtual event is that you could be on here and join us live, which is really cool. And so I am grateful for that. And guys, I'll put some of these addresses and resources and things on the session grid as well, so you can check that out. And I hope you guys will follow them on social media and connect. I think you'll find it really valuable. And I think this book is worth the investment too. So I'm learning a lot.
We even tried to put it on sale right now because we don't want to, everything's so hard for people. So we've even fought with our publishers on that one too, trying to get the Kindle version lower, get the book lower. And if anyone does want to order it and Amazon says it's not arriving until May 7th or something crazy, we just ordered a whole box at our house. And so we are shipping them out to people ourselves. If they would like to get a hold of it, we'll honor the same sale price, but that is up there too, because it's, we get it. Things need to be prioritized, but teacher mental health is important too, and we want to be there to help everybody.
Well, very cool. Now, I might have to get another copy just so I can get it autographed, and then I can share my copy with somebody. I'm kind of a nerd like that. I love having books that are signed by authors. It's cool. Kind of share my reading life with my class. So, okay, I see some thumbs up and high fives and applause. If there's not any other questions, then I'm going to go ahead and end this. Oh, I see Melissa. Yay! She ordered it from Amazon yesterday. It's supposed to April 22nd. She said it's going to arrive for her.
Maybe faster.
Hopefully. Yeah, a lot of times Amazon is saying that, but things are coming a little bit faster. But again, we understand, it's a national emergency.
Something to look forward to, right?
Yeah. Because
we're probably still not going to be at school on April 22nd.
Yeah, real quick, what is, since you guys are in Florida, right? You guys are East Coast, what is your school situation like for you guys? I know here in Kansas, our physical buildings are shut down for the rest of this school year.
It's been funny. We were on spring break when really everything started happening. So bless our children, they've been through like it just keeps changing. So first it was you're only going to be out of school a week. Then it was now we're only going to be out of school, I think it was like April 15th. Mm-hmm. Now they just told us now we're out of school till May 1st. So they're not even like giving an ending, like a definite. As of yesterday, we are now at like a stay-at-home advisory, as what I'm calling it, because it's really not like a stay-at-home.
It's not mandatory.
Let's be real. So. But our physical buildings, as of yesterday, closed. Like we have been not working at home since like March 18th, but we were able to go back and forth if we needed to get something. And then as of yesterday, like everything's closed. Our admin's now home. In my personal opinion, I don't think we're going back, but unfortunately, the kids have this hope that we're going to go back. So we're just going to act as if we're just on a really long, month-long vacation and working together. And if that comes to be, then we're going to,
Sure doesn't feel like that.
No, definitely not. Not even close.
That story sounds very similar to what happened to us here in Kansas with spring break getting extended and our date changing and getting pushed later and later. And I see Jim is on here from Texas. Hey, Jim, glad you're here with us. And he's saying that Fort Worth schools are closed indefinitely as well, your physical buildings, it looks like. So we are definitely all in the same boat here. Not what anyone would have hoped for, but we, of course, are going to make the best of it. And Joe and Kristin, you're really given us some tools to help us do that. So
awesome. Well, please reach out to us.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Us always. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us, and we're better together. Have a good afternoon.
Absolutely. Thanks.